You're nothing but a hand job, grinding all the time. They didn't call him Elvis the Pelvis for nothing, did they?
Oh, it's the kid getting words. Podcast on blast, giving you the real talk, no holding back. Can't get any worse, we'll make you see. There's always a silver lining. We'll set you free, so join the movement. Let's change the game with the Can't Get Any Worse podcast.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Can't Get Any Worse podcast. How are we all today? I hope we're all ripping in and just having the sickest week of our lives. But my God, do we have a lot going on this week, as per usual. But before we do kick in, let's see what that opening clip was all on about.
You're nothing but a hand job, grinding all the time. They didn't call him Elvis the Pelvis for nothing, did they?
Elvis the Pelvis. Could that be the episode title already? But that's one way to update the classics. I spoke about Elvis a couple of months ago and how I feel like I missed out on that experience, like that experience of realizing how great Elvis was back in his day. But this guy, he could get me into Elvis a little bit more than I already am. So shout out to that guy. I'm excited to see what classics he rewrites in the future. But let's kick off with this, guys. We have a very depressed and down and out boy in this couch today. I know all you guys can assume why, but on top of all that, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into the whole fucking Conor thing at the end of the episode in my I still haven't thought of a name of that fucking segment, but we're going to get there, guys. But on top of that, I've been the sickest that I've been in fucking ages this week. I don't know what I've got. Some sort of flu, cold, fucking chest infection style thing. And I don't know if you guys can hear it in my voice. It feels like my throat is fucked. I've got the most nasally nose in the world. So basically, to get this podcast out, I've done a couple of sprays of throat spray, a couple of nasal sprays, fucking popped every cold and flu that we got in the cupboard. And I reckon it's going to get us through a fair chunk of this episode. So if my voice does start going, who knows? We might have to pull the pin. But on top of that, I'm having the most fucking crazy pimple outbreak. So on top of not only having a flu, I've felt so foggy all week. I just haven't been able to think straight. To be honest, it's probably been the most unproductive week I've had all year. Just gym sucked. I've been going gym still, but I've just basically been standing there, just going through the motions, which sucks dick, you know what I mean? I felt like I was hammering gym for a while there. And now this week I'm just completely zapped. So it could reflect in some of my stories this week as to how foggy my brain is and just how not onto it I've been, because some of the shit I've jotted down I was getting the run sheet ready this morning and I'm like, are you actually going to talk about that? And yes, I am. But like I said, when I get sick, I get the most insane fucking pimple outbreaks, okay? When Ash and Adrian were on the podcast, I think we also referred to my pimple outbreaks I get as stress pimples, which they thought was the most outrageous sentence that they've ever fucking heard. But I'm covered in neck, fucking head, all that shit. Anyway, I got this juicy one on the side of my neck. YouTube listeners, I would be surprised if you guys can't see it. But I woke up this morning. I went to bed last night. I went to a gig and I felt like, everyone's just going to be staring at that on stage. I come home, I went to bed and I'm like, this is going to be gigantic in the morning. Sure enough, I wake up, I look in the mirror while I'm brushing my teeth and I'm like, what the fuck is that thing? It just looks like a gigantic cyst on the side of my neck. I'm not even going to point it out as to which side of my neck it's on for YouTube listeners, just in case it is flying under the radar. But I'm at gym, I'm texting Nikita, I'm like, you wait until you see this thing when I get home. And sure enough, I get home, walk in the door. She quite clearly sees it straight away as soon as I walk in the door. But she does that lovely supportive wife thing that you want your partner to do, okay? And she's like, it's not even that bad. No one will notice it, you know what I mean? And I start to unpack all my gym stuff, put my Crocs on, things like that. And then the boys wake up and they were a little less supportive about the whole matter, because I said to the boys, I go, boys, check out this on the side of my neck. To which Parker, my 6-year-old son, in his little sleepy state, just stretching and yawning, ever so cute, like a baby little koala, just opens his little sleepy eyes. And his first words on this Monday morning, what is the date? Monday the 13th of July. My 6-year-old's first words today were, what the fuck is that? Oh, God. I was like, cheers, bud. Really made me feel fucking good about myself. But kids just don't sugarcoat anything, you know what I mean? They just humble you instantly. So now I'm very self-conscious about it, and I'm worried about what you guys are going to say about it. But anyway, before we rip into our next story, let's crack our delicious can of kamikaze. We've got Fire Engine today, one of my favourite flavours. Let's crack that bad boy. Oh, yeah, that is crisp. Shout out to you legends for getting behind it again. It's a fresh month, so the rollover of the code is renewed. If you want to get some kamikaze, jump on the website, code word CAMICGW. That'll get you 10% off whatever you want on the site. So not only do they do the sick energy drinks, they do supplements, they do apparel, they do fucking stickers. If you just want to buy a $2 sticker to support the podcast, jump on there. What do I get? What's 10% of $2? I don't know. 20 cents? I think it's yeah, it might be 20 cents. It's too early to do maths on a Monday morning. Let's take a sip. Oh, all right. Here's a little glimpse into the conversations our family has. We're just chilling. Now, both my boys, they're 6 and 9, okay? Now, they're in that peak little boy stage where dicks and butts are hilarious, okay? And don't get me wrong, I'm still not out of that stage. The amount of times I'm at work and I just sketch the perfectly crafted penis and I'm just stand back and go, that's a thing of beauty, you know what I mean? That'll never get old to me. When we went for that high school walkthrough the other week, we were walking through the high school and everywhere I was looking, there were just perfectly little graffiti dicks. And I just leant over to Nikita and I go, this is the place. This is where the boys need to go to perfect the craft that their dad has perfected ever so perfectly. But anyway, they're obsessed with that shit. Again, Parker, my 6-year-old. He's really, remember when this podcast just used to be Westie stories? Now Parker's really coming into his own character, okay? Because he hits Nikita and I with a question, and it's a pretty outrageous question, okay? Ready? I'll just say the question, and then I'll say where this all led to. He just looks at Nikita and I, and he goes, "Can you buy animal dicks?" And I've before I could shut down the conversation, before I could go, no, it's not a thing. Move on with your life. I turned to my lovely wife, Nikita, and she says, I think you can. And I've looked at her as if to say, why the fuck would you tell the boys that? Why would you tell the boys that we can go and buy animal dicks? And she goes, what, you can, can't you? And I'm like I think you can. Like, I've never really asked to buy an animal dick, but I'm pretty sure if you wanted to buy one, you probably could. And now I'm just picturing myself. Imagine me just going to the local butcher, just being like, excuse me, mate, you got any of those rooster cocks out the back that I could get my hands on? I'd sound like some sort of fucking sexual predator. I'd be locked up in Logan jail tonight if I go to my butcher and ask for a rooster cock. Oh, dear. Anyway, I wrapped up the podcast last week. And like I said, boys are on school holidays. Today is the last school holiday episode. For whatever reason, right? This school just does not make sense to me these days. I do not understand it. I don't understand their schedules. I don't understand why they have so many days off and shit. But it is Monday, right? Should be the first day of school. Nah, let's start them back on a Tuesday just to fuck with your podcasting schedule. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, let's do that. Queensland schooling whatever the fuck you are, you know what I mean? Department. They're a department. Let's call them that. So I wrapped up the podcast last week. I'm in the office doing the editing shit, and the boys are in there just talking to me about whatever the fuck they're talking about. I think they were like hassling me to put more cards up on eBay or something. And let's paint the picture of this story first. Now, Nikita started doing some like home workouts the last couple of months, which is sick. I've been trying to get her like, this is going to sound like a pushy fucking weird boyfriend husband thing, but trust me, it is not. I've been trying to tell her to like join a gym and shit for the last couple of years, purely because I know how much it helps me with my head and shit. So I'm like, oh, you fucking, like, it'll get you away from the kids for an hour. You can go to the gym, you can push some weights around, or you can just run or whatever you want to fucking do, and it'll clear your brain. Now, she's dabbled in the gym in the past. We used to go to the gym together when we were younger, and she just hates like that commercial gym feel. She feels like everyone's looking at her, everyone's judging her. She doesn't want seedy blokes to come and fucking talk to her and all that sort of shit. So over the last couple of months, she's just started like recruiting little workout stuff from Big W and Kmart, like some little dumbbells, some kettlebells, some mats and bands and all the chick workout gear, you know what I mean? Like I couldn't go in there and get a decent workout done with some 2 kilo dumbbells, but she comes out of the office every night dripping in sweat and she seems to be fucking enjoying it. So stoked for her, right? But about a month ago, she bought this like exercise machine thing online and it got delivered. And again, she loves it. To me, I don't understand what it does, but I suppose chick and dude workouts are slightly different. So she buys this thing, she's loving it, and it's full fucking electronic and gizmos and gadgets and everything everywhere. And I knew that this thing had this capability, but for whatever reason, Nikita didn't. So it's got Bluetooth on it. So I'm assuming that's so you can connect your music and play beats and shit while you're working out, all that sort of stuff. If you want to listen to an audio book while you're doing it, I don't know, but it's got that capability. Now, Nikita's never used it, all right? So I'm in the office last week editing the podcast. Boys are sitting behind me, and we just hear this loud Bluetooth connected. And I've gone, what the fuck? That's weird. And I'm like checking my laptop. I'm like, maybe my laptop's connected to it or something. Well, at first, we didn't even know it was that machine thing. We're looking around. We're like, what the fuck was that? And then I go, I think it was mum's workout machine. I think it's just connected to my phone or the laptop somehow, which is weird because when something tries to connect to Bluetooth, it usually asks you like, do you want to accept or whatever? And I didn't get any of that on my devices. Now, we just kept doing what we were doing for another 30 seconds or so. Then I hear this bloke talking and I'm like, what the fuck? Someone must be outside my office window. So I'm peering out the blinds like some sort of weirdo. No one's out there. Like, that is crazy. What is happening? And then I start hearing like motorbikes revving and shit like that. And I'm like, the fuck is going on right now? And then I hear the noises coming from the little workout machine underneath my desk. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe the neighbour has somehow connected to Nikita's Bluetooth workout machine. And now we're having to listen to whatever YouTube video he's listening to. Imagine if he was listening to the podcast. That'd be sick. And then it started like getting louder. Like he's obviously mashing his fucking volume up button going, where the fuck is my sound? And it just reminded me of that Dan Soda bit on his YouTube special. Still one of my favorite specials of all time, where his girlfriend goes to have a shower and he decides to watch porn while she's in there. And she took the Bluetooth speaker in and it's just him aggressively pressing the volume up button in the lounge room going, this chick looks like she's having the time of her life, but I can't hear shit. And just torturing his girlfriend in the shower. But anyway, we're hearing like every video this guy's trying to watch, and the boys are just freaking out. They're like, oh my God, he's hacked into our house. And I'm like, boys, calm down. Like, it's just all he can do is play shit to us. And they thought he like invaded our whole house somehow. They thought this thing was just going to get up and murder us all. I'm like, everyone needs to fucking calm down right now. He hasn't hacked the mainframe. He's like taken over a resistance band or something like that. Everyone needs to fucking calm down. But imagine if he was watching porn, just a dad with his 2 sons just trying to explain that in the office while editing this piece of shit podcast. Oh God, it's just the pinnacle, you know what I mean? And then that leads us into another fun conversation we had the other night. You know, another sip of this delicious kamikaze before I do. Oh, the throat is just holding in there, guys. I hope it isn't too painful for you guys to listen to. I hope it's not as painful for you guys to listen to as it is for me to talk it out. So it's all good. We're going to keep pushing through. But we're sitting around the dining table or the couch or something. No, it was the dining table. We're having dinner. And we're just talking as you do as a family. We're just enjoying our meal that Nikita prepared for us. And the boys just start talking about random shit from their school. And Parker pipes up and I'm not going to say his friend's name, but he goes, oh, this kid's dad, sometimes when he says naughty stuff, he puts like soap in his mouth. And I'm like, oh yeah. And they're like, isn't that insane? I'm like, I used to get soap in my mouth all the time and like pepper and shit like that. And they're like, oh, wow, that's insane. And then Westy pipes up. He goes, oh yeah, well, my friend, sometimes when his dad gets really mad, his dad hits him. And I've gone, oh, okay. And Westy like demonstrates the hit and it's like barely even touching the kid. So don't track me down, FBI, and be like, who is this father? And again, I go, oh yeah, it's pretty normal. It's just a Tuesday night in the 90s, you know what I mean? And they're like, oh, well, did you get hit as well? I'm like, 100% I got hit. they're like, oh, who hit you? And I'm like, Nanny. And they're like, oh, what'd she hit you with? I'm like, whatever she could find. Her hand, belts, cords, fucking kitchen utensils, shit like that. And they're like, oh, that's insane. I'm like, I remember one time she hit me with a wooden spoon and it snapped on my ass, which just infuriated her more that she went and got another one and hit me twice as hard, as if it was my fault that my toned 12-year-old ass cheeks broke a wooden spoon. I'm like, there was this one time I remember where Poppy got some of my hardcover books out of my bookshelf and goes, put one of these down your pants. Because obviously he thought he was of the same mindset that I was. This is unfair to beat your child. And I remember that infuriated her even more. It was like I just couldn't get out of this, you know what I mean? And the kids are just sitting there with their jaws on the floor. They were horrified. And I'm going, yeah, it's crazy times. And then Westy just scoops up another pile of his dinner on his fork. And he just goes, well, at least she's nice to us. I've gone, wow, that is a fucking silver lining. You know what I mean? I'm so happy for you guys. But just character building. That's just some classic 90s character building exercises right there. But anyway, let's break out of that with a turns out it can get worse clip. Let's drag this lovely lady over, see what she's got to say.
Let me make something crystal clear. When you're with mommy, I'm running the show. You do what I say, when I say it, and you know what? You're gonna like it. That's just how this works, sugar.
Jesus Christ. Mummy runs the show, everyone. Feel like Princess Fiona's really let herself go. Oh, Lord. No, I'm sure she's a lovely lady. My God. Anyone that wants her Instagram handle, hit me up and I'll shoot it to you. But took a little drive last week for work. Now, I don't really like long drives. And like the drive I went to Toowoomba. So from Gold Coast to Toowoomba, it was a bit over 2 hours, which isn't an insane drive. But when you've got my brain and you're sitting in a car by yourself for 2 hours there and 2 hours back, you get pretty fucking bored, right? Could you imagine me just sitting in the car, the shit that I would come up with in my brain? But anyway, I did get a bit of entertainment on the way back from Toowoomba because I was driving, I was zoned out. All of a sudden, I get cut off on an on-ramp by a Ford Raptor towing what can only be described as a giant fiberglass pool, okay? Now, I've seen some pools get towed before. Usually they're on the back of trucks and shit like that. Makes sense. This Raptor certainly shouldn't have been towing this pool in my book. Now, I don't know much about towing capacities and things like that, but when I look at a Ford Raptor and its tow ball is about an inch off the bitumen, I start to ask questions. When it's hitting bumps and the sparks of the tow ball are flying off the road into your windscreen, it's like, I don't know if you should be doing that, buddy. And the only thing I could assume is maybe that pool missed the truck or something, or the truck driver called in sick, and this hero's just gone, I'll get it out there on the back of my Raptor. And they're towing this thing, and every single bridge we drive under, I'm like, holy shit, I'm about to die. Like I was having full Final Destination moments of just this pool hitting a bridge, exploding, and just shrapnel of fiberglass just piercing my skull through my windscreen. And I just had the clearest vision in my head that this is how I was going to go. And I'm following this thing for about 20 minutes, and just every bridge, I'm just holding my breath going, oh my God, this is it. And it was like legit. From where I was sitting, it looked like it was about to hit every single bridge. And I'm like, fuck me. And luckily, to save my life, I was busting for a piss. So I pulled over to a toilet and just saw the Raptor just fly down the highway. And I've gone, okay, sweet. I get back in my car and I start the drive again. And about 10 minutes later, I just see the Raptor pulled over in front of a bridge. And this must have been the bridge that was going to do it. This premonition saved my life somehow because, my God, part of me did wish that he hit it. It would be pretty cool to see like an exploded pool all over the highway. But on the other hand, I probably wouldn't have got home till like 8 p.m. that night. So, but the big thing I got from that, right, like I said, I'm not much of a tower, okay? How the fuck do trucks and shit turn around if their load's too big for a bridge? Like they can't just reverse down the highway to the closest off-ramp. Like, does someone have to come and pick the pool up somehow? I don't know. Surely this turns into like a 3-day operation or something. But anyone that's in the trucking industry, let me know. I'm intrigued. Let's get on to some exciting news. Westpark Collectables, again, appreciate all you guys getting around the boys. A couple more follows this week, so shout out to you guys. Last Monday, before the Bluetooth incident, get a little notification on my phone. You have sold an item on eBay. Holy shit. The boys were just losing their mind. Westy was skipping around the room. He thought this was his big break. He was going to be the next like Wolf of Wall Street, but for trading cards. And unfortunately, it was one of my cards. And part of me didn't really want to put this up there. It was like my first cool card that I bought for myself. I spoke about it when I went to the card show with the boys a couple months ago, and I was digging through the little cheap bin there, and I found a Jalen Brunson patch card for $15. Now, I spoke about Jalen Brunson a couple of weeks ago, just won the NBA Finals. He was the MVP, and when I saw that in the bargain bin, this was before, it might have been just as the finals were starting, possibly, or just before that. But I was like, oh, if the Knicks make it to the finals, this could bump up in price. And that it did. I wish I did put it up closer to when they won the finals rather than like a month later. But sold for $50, which you can't be unhappy with that. You know what I mean? $15 to $50, happy with it. But it genuinely hurt me packaging it up. But again, shout out to Doghouse Collectables at Underwood. I spoke about them last week or the week before. But I went there because you got to send cards in like special little bubble wrap fucking shit and like cram the card between two pieces of cardboard and yada, yada, yada. So it doesn't get damaged in transport. So I went there. I'm like, hey, I just sold a card. What do I need to post it? And he was over the top helpful. He was like showing me how he sends cards, things like that. He's like, this must have made him giggle inside. He's like, because I was being over the top. I'm like, I want everything. And he's like, oh, if you don't mind me asking, like, how much was the card? Like $1,000, $1,500? And I'm like, $50. And he's like, oh, okay. I'll just do this. And I was like, oh. In my head, it was like $1 million card. And to him, it's just like an average fucking minor sale. And he was like showing me all this shit. He even threw a couple of things in for free. And he's like, look, I'll give you these ones for free, but this is how much they normally are, blah, blah, blah. And I decided to do a bit of girl math in the store, and I'm like, he's helped me out so much here. The least I could do would be buy a card off him, you know? I'm here. I might as well. So I start flipping through his bin again, and I find a nice little numbered card to 49 of Khabib Nurmagomedov, one of the GOATs of the UFC for, I think it was $12 or something. And I'm like, all right, I'll pick that bad boy up. Surely it makes his time worth it. So that's pretty. Sorry, I thought I had another chunk after that. I also felt a cough brewing. All right, is this the last? Yeah, this will be the last little story, and then we'll get into my week in comedy. But speaking about comedy, I was actually meant to talk about this last week, but slipped my brain. And because I said I had a quiet week this week, I was like, let's rehash it. So did a gig in the Valley last Sunday night, I think it was. And there must have been an event on or something in the Valley because the car parks where I usually park were jam-packed. So I had to park ages away, like fucking 15-minute walk from the venue. And I wrap up the gig, right? I'm walking back to my car about 9:30, 10 p.m. on a Sunday night. And the biggest thing that I'm scared of in the Valley is crackheads, okay? They're everywhere in there, especially this time of night, just lurking the side streets and just getting up to mischief. And I'm cruising down, and I'm now in the street where my car's parked. There's probably, when I parked there would have been 50 to 60 cars, okay? It was jam-packed, and there's no street lights in this street, so it's just pitch black. And I'm like, oh, fuck, this is sick. So I start walking down to my car where now there's only like 5 cars in the street. And I just see this thing on the path in the distance, and I'm like, what the fuck is that thing? And I start getting closer, and this thing starts like twitching and stuff. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, this is how I'm going to die. I thought I was going to die by the pool earlier in the episode. No. This is how I'm actually going to die. Crackhead in the Valley. And I now get about 2 meters away from this thing, and I'm still squinting in the darkness. I'm like, what the fuck is that thing? All of a sudden, this thing launches from the footpath onto the chain link fence beside it and just starts like hissing at me. Holy fuck. I shit myself so hard. This rabid-filled possum in the Valley is now just trying to kill me. And I was so scared. I almost wish I did run into a crackhead, you know, because they would have protected me. But one thing's for sure, you do not mess with valley possums. Anyway, let's before we get into my week in comedy, let's play another Turns Out It Can Get Worse clip. Hit play on this bad boy.
And I'm being fired from every business because I won't have sex with the manager. I won't have sex with any other females at work. I won't flirt with them. And they're intentionally having me fired because I won't have sex with them.
That feels like the type of video that you make when you're caught having an affair at work and you've got to make that video before you get home and you tell your wife why you actually got fired. Oh, my God. But anyway, week in comedy this week, I just had 2 little sign-up nights. I did the Fourth Monkey at West End on Tuesday night. And fun little gig. I got there a little bit later than I usually do, which meant that I was on like towards the back end of the lineup. And I've said it before, these sign-up nights, I genuinely, hand on heart, I do enjoy them because it takes me back to, and again, this is no offense to anyone on the lineup. I'm not singling anyone out or anything, but if you're in the comedy scene, you know that there are some characters that are just like, what the fuck is going on right now? And admittedly, I was one of those characters at the start. Some of the shit I was saying was fucking outrageous, but there was 2 other comedians there that I get along with, and we're watching these acts go on and they're just leaning over to me going, what is this shit? And like, I don't like to be rude to anyone or anything at gigs, so I'll just give them a polite like, haha. And just some of the acts on there were just saying the craziest shit. And I was genuinely laughing because I'm like, this is wild. This is wild, wild scenes. And by the time I got on towards the back end, you could only imagine a crowd on a Tuesday night. They've gone, hey, babe, let's go to a date night. Let's go to a comedy show at West End. And then just to be met with act after act of just outrageous shit. I don't know how to explain it. So I was like, fuck. And some of the crowd starts leaving and it's like, oh, God, it's going to be an empty room by the time I get up. And there was a decent crowd there that night. Like for a sign-up open mic night, there was probably 15 people there when I got there. And by the time I got on, there was maybe like 8 people that weren't comedians. And then maybe like 15 comedians just waiting to get on. And I was like, I really don't know how this is going to go. But I just like took one of those deep breaths before, said my little mantras, got on there, and surprisingly had like a fucking pretty decent crush. Like I did all new material. I fucked up one of the bits so hard. And then like I was just happy with myself because I just started riffing on my fuck up. And that got the crowd back on side for my closing joke. And it was turned out to be a sick gig. I was actually probably one of my favorite gigs in a long time, if I'm being honest. I'm liking that shit, like I said the other week, of going to these sign-up nights and like having to work for laughs again. Feels good. Makes you remember why you want to do this shit. Then last night I did La Camella at Caxton Street. Again, another fucking sick room. That is actually building to be a cool room. So I think I'm probably going to regular that pretty regularly on a Sunday night if I've got nothing on, because it's just a fun little space to try new shit in. And when I got there, I go, oh, how long are sets? And I was relatively early at this stage, and the room runner goes, oh, like 5 to 7. And then by that time, another heap of comedians had come. I didn't get the memo that spots got reduced to 5 minutes. So I'm sitting there, again, more like this group of comedians was better than the Tuesday night one. Let's just say that. But again, there was still some moments where I was like, that's insane. That is absolutely wild. Now, if you remember back to probably 12 months ago, I spoke about a guy. I went on like a Bundaberg little regional tour and spoke about a guy on that podcast where there were just some outrageous stories, okay? And that guy was on this lineup again and I had to follow him. And again, he just screams at the audience and just makes everyone feel so uncomfortable. And I'm like, fuck my life. How am I going to follow this shit? And got up there and started my set. Again, I was trying to do all relatively new shit or just shit that I'm working on. And again, I didn't get the memo of the 5 minutes thing. So I genuinely felt so shit about this the whole drive home. But I got off and straight away the room runner was like, oh, fuck, I forgot to tell you like 5 minutes because so many comedians came. I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm so sorry. Anyway, that was sweet. And then I got to the back and another open micer came up to me, okay? And I'm not going to single this person out, but they're like, it's 7 minutes, man. It's 5 minutes, man. And I'm like, oh, yeah, but the room runner said I could do 7 at the start. He's like, nah, it's open mic comedy. You got to do 5 minutes. And I'm like, okay. I'm just doing what the room runner told me. I'm like, he didn't tell me about the 5-minute thing before I got on. In my head, I'm like, who the fuck are you to be like telling me this? You have nothing to do with this room. And then he starts banging on. He's like, also, it's an open mic night, so don't go on there with your stories and stuff. It's just about doing jokes here, just joke after joke, just punchlines. That's all these people want. And I'm like, brother, I've never seen you crush. I've seen you bomb 6 million times before. Never seen a good set. And I'm like, trying to be polite at the same time, but at the same time, he's starting to get fucking antsy at me, so I'm starting to get antsy back. I'm like, all good, man. I'm like, I'm just trying to work out some new stories for like a longer set. I'm like, I'm not really a jokey joke comedian. All my shit is story based. And he's like, oh, maybe you should start looking at writing some shorter jokes. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Anyway, it pissed me off. But silver lining of the night. Again, this is why I fucking love this dude. I'll never say it to his face because I'm a little bitch. But Damien Power, favourite comedian in the probably Australian scene all over. He dropped in. And that's why I love this bloke, because he still drops into these sign-up nights and just works his shit out. And just to see him, he was trialing new shit, just see how relaxed and calm he is on stage, blows my mind. And don't get me wrong, he's been doing it for like 15, 20 years or something, and I can only assume that I'm going to be like that then, hopefully. And then a bloke in the crowd just started like heckling him, and he went to go keep going with his set, and someone in the crowd started to get defensive for him, and he's like, oh, no. He's like, oh, I don't think you realise who I am. He's like, I'll handle this. And then just spent a solid 4 minutes roasting this cunt in the crowd, to the point where this guy pretended he wasn't even at the show anymore. He just put his head in his plate and just pretended to eat as if there wasn't a comedy show going on. Holy fuck. Some of the best shit I've ever seen. So shout out to him. If you're not around Damien Power, go check out his specials on YouTube and just see why the fuck I'm obsessed with the bloke. But anyway, let's before we get into shit I've consumed this week, let's play our last Turns Out It Can Get Worse clip.
Dana White, it's your first ever crown champion, KO Chris. I'm coming to you to ask you to let me come back on the stage and come back and shine for you, boss man. I'm your day one guy, your first knockout, and still to this day, out of 300 people on your roster to hold the knockout record. I'm talking about cold-blooded knockouts where you are asleep, 5-0 before I hit the ground. I'm still the only one to do that out of everybody. I'm your OG. I set history. I'm ready to come back and fucking deliver a slap that will wake the whole world up, but at the same time, put them all to sleep. Let's fucking go. I'm ready. 164 ripped up, shredded up. I even got fucking muscles in my butt cheeks. Let's go, baby. Dana, power slap is my home, man. That's my sport. Like, I'm part of the beginning of it. I'm just asking you out of respect to come through for me, boss. Next month, please.
Holy fuck, KO Chris. When that video started, I was like, who is this guy? I've never seen this guy in the UFC in my life. And then he's played the last bit about being in power slap. But I didn't think you could get any lower than being a power slap athlete. But to beg to get back on the power slap fucking roster, insane shit. So shout out to KO Chris. I hope Dana saw that video and gives him another crack. I mean, I know Dana's got a lot to deal with after yesterday, but surely you got to fucking return KO Chris's calls. All right, shit that I've watched this week. This one's been another one on the watch list for the longest time, and we finally got around to it on Saturday Arvo while Nikita and I were feeling shit on the couch. Obsession. I was so pumped for this movie. I've seen all the clips and shit, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be sick. Everyone's like, oh, it's the coolest movie ever because it was made on like a YouTube budget. This is going to change movies forever. Huge hype around it. And I was disappointed, if I'm being honest. It did not fucking intrigue me at all. Like, the only cool parts of the movie were the clips. I think I even fell asleep at part of it. And the only silver lining of the whole movie is literally the day before, Nikita sent me a reel of someone on Instagram, and it's like, when you watch Obsession with your partner and realize you've said 90% of the shit that this bitch is saying, and every time she'd say something on the screen, I'd just look at Nikita and be like, you've said that. She's like, she had nothing to say. So basically, Nikita's the chick from Obsession. Again, that's a fucking joke. Anyone that's listening and knows Nikita. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, The other thing, I watched Louis C.K.'s new special on Netflix, dropped last week. And look, I only got onto Louis C.K. probably 2 years ago. I told a couple of my mates in the comedy scene that I never really got around him, and they're like, no, just listen to his shit and listen to his first couple of specials and fucking obsessed. I think he's genuinely one of the best to ever do it. And this special, again, I thought it was so good. Fucking absolutely insane. The only observation I had of the whole thing, and I've heard a couple of bigger comedians openly say this, is once they've figured out like the formula that their crowd likes, that their audience likes, they just stick to it, and basically all the beats and the punches to the jokes are exactly the same on every special. They just replace like the story or the topic or whatever, and then just go through the motions again. And I did notice like a few of the bits on that special, I was like, fuck, this feels like an old Louis bit. You know what I mean? Like same rhythm, but still just as fucking funny. But on the other hand, me critiquing Louis C.K. is like telling Michael Jordan how to take a free throw. It's fucking insane shit to say. But go check it out if you are looking for something to watch. Two more things. IBC 4 goes down this Wednesday on the Gold Coast again. So it's in Southport, this one. And it's their new format that they're trialing. So they're going like the Wednesday night to try and match the boxing pay-per-view formula. Obviously, everyone's at home on a Wednesday night. They've got nothing to do. Turn the TV on, buy the fights. So it is a smaller venue for this one, whereas the last three have been gigantic venues. And yeah, so I'm intrigued to see how this format goes. Now, they have changed it a fair bit. There is no streaming, no extra fucking tickets or anything being thrown out for this one because, like I said, it's a much smaller, tighter show and just fucking trying to keep it simple. So I've spoken with Dan and I am still going to the fights and I'm just going to – I basically said to him, I'm like, just get me in the door. I'll do the rest. And he's like, all right, I'll make sure your name's on the door with a fucking media pass, which is similar to what I got hanging up behind us there. And I think I'm just going to take it back to basics with this one. Like the first one I did, I love that. Just being like a fucking Temu commentator and showing my fight reactions and things like that. And then the second one I did where I tried to pump it up with guests and fucking shit. Like it was just so stressful and didn't really pan out the way I wanted it to anyway. So this time I'm thinking, and again, I don't know if I'm like, depending on how the night's flowing and things like that and how it's all looking down there, I'm thinking I'm just going to take my phone and my portable mics and basically film my reactions to each fight like I did the first time. And then in between each fight, just try and find an influencer or a fighter or something in the crowd, do a quick fucking 1 minute interview, post it on the reels, things like that, just to get a bit of content out there. But yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to it. Just a whole lot less admin, but hopefully a whole lot more chaos. So if you're in the Gold Coast area, come check it out. It's going to be sick. If you can't make it, grab the pay-per-view on KO because it is going to be a sick show. All right, let's rip the Band-Aid off, guys. Let's do our UFC 329 breakdown. I don't even want to fucking talk about it, okay? Let's get on to some happier shit off the bat, okay? Robert Whittaker makes his light heavyweight debut, and as soon as he walked out, I'm like, oh, that boy is looking thick. Now, obviously, we're used to middleweight Robert Whittaker, fucking chiseled abs, looking jacked, just smacking that Southern Cross on his chest, and he looked chubby. That's the only way to fucking say it. And I was very, very worried. Now, first round starts against Nikita Krylov, and Nikita Krylov fights always end in a finish, whether you're on the back end of it or you're fucking giving it, whatever, however you say that shit. And the first round, I was genuinely worried for Bobby Knuckles. I was like, this is not going to be fucking good. Second round starts. Oh, God. We get vintage Robert Whittaker back. He's looking good, and he ends up getting a third round finish. Third round knockout, which makes the light heavyweight division very interesting again. Now, obviously, Robert Whittaker is getting up there in age, and the last thing I want to see is him get viciously knocked out by a light heavyweight. But on the other hand, the light heavyweight division is somewhat open with Alex Pereira moving around and things like that. So to see Robert Whittaker potentially go for another title before he retires, it would be a sick thing to see. This doesn't really have anything to do with the fights, but I thought it was fucking sick. Sophie Cunningham, she's a WNBA player. I'm obsessed with her at the moment. You might know her as like Caitlin Clark's enforcer. So basically, Caitlin Clark is the face of the WNBA at the moment, and a lot of the other women athletes don't like it. So they're just openly fouling her and shit. And Sophie Cunningham had enough, and now she is just throwing chicks to the ground and things like that, going, oh, if the ref's not going to call those fouls, why don't you call these ones, sort of thing. And she's just blown the fuck up on the internet and stuff like that. And she just doesn't care. She's entertaining. Everything she does is just hilarious. And she was at the fights yesterday, and she said to Dana, oh, how do I be a ring girl to walk around? And Dana's like, jump up and do the next round. And Sophie Cunningham jumped up and was a what's the word? I don't even remember, but like a temporary ring girl for the night. It was sick. Then she went in the cage after the Max fight, did the point down to the center of the cage, things like that. It was just absolute scenes. So that was cool to see. Then we get to Paddy the Baddy. My God, what a fucking fight. Now, obviously, the hype is real behind Paddy Pimblett, and I'm not going to lie, it took me a while to get around him. I didn't really like the whole shtick and things like that he was going for at the very beginning, but I'd say probably his last 3 or 4 fights, fucking love the bloke. And there was a question asked at the press conference on Friday. They're like, who do you think's going to get a bigger pop from the crowd, you or Conor? And in my head, I was always like, oh, Conor's going to get the biggest pop. Like, what kind of question is that? And then I started to think about it. I'm like, holy fuck, Paddy might beat Conor for like the loudest walkout. And as soon as that walkout hit, the crowd was up and ready. One of the sickest UFC walkouts of all time. And he was walking out, and I was saying to Nikita, I'm like, I'm genuinely worried he is about to get murdered in that cage. He was going up against Benoit Saint-Denis, an ex-French Special Forces, and I was like, oh, this is so scary. In fucking the most impressive fashion I've seen in the longest time, Paddy Pimblett gets a submission in like the first minute. One of the sickest submissions I've ever seen in my life. Just, I don't even remember what they've put it down to, but just an absolutely deep choke. It was disgusting. And his star power just keeps growing. And this is what everyone that's like, oh, I hate grappling and submissions and shit like that. You cannot tell me that was not one of the sickest things you've ever fucking seen in your life. I would almost, like, I enjoy seeing that just as much, if not more, than like a knockout. So shout out to Paddy. I'm keen to see where he goes to now. Then we get to the main event. This one fucking hurt, guys. This one hurt really bad. I was just slumped on the couch for like 45 minutes after this happened. Conor and Max. Max makes his walkout. It's like, oh God, he's looking good. Conor makes his walkout. And look, he looked good until he got to where they take their shoes and shit off. Now, I'm not going to lie and say that I noticed what they played at the end of the commentary after what happened, where he sort of was a little bit limpy on his right leg. What I saw is he looked, to me, the only way that I can describe, like he was tweaking, like he just racked a line of coke or something in the locker room before he came out, because he was like looking at the ceiling, just doing these little twitches with his like head and neck and shit. And I'm like, oh God, do not fucking do this to us, Conor. You know what I mean? He just didn't look right. Then he got into the octagon, did his billionaire strut, and I'm like, okay, calm down. He looks jacked. He's got the mohawk happening. I wasn't the biggest fan of the mohawk. I understand why he did it, trying to get back to vintage Conor and things like that. And he just, I felt good. I felt good about it. I'm not going to lie. The bell goes. He throws that stupid flying kick. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's the dumbest thing. It's like, have you never seen a fucking Conor fight before? This is what he does. This is what makes us love him. He does the most outrageous shit and somehow makes it work. And he lands and fucking, you can straight away see his knee buckle. And it's like, fuck. He gets up, throws another kick, falls again. And I was just like, instantly, I just sunk back in the couch and I knew. I'm like, something's wrong. Just heartbroken. I'm like, it's an injury. He's fucked. And you could just see Max. Max is talking to him and he's talking to the ref. Shout out to Max as well for just being such a good sport. A lot of other fighters would have just jumped on Conor and beat the fuck out of him. Max was standing back, giving him his time to stand up, telling the ref something's wrong. And Conor got up for a third time and that was it. Fell to the ground again and Max basically screamed to the ref to call the fight. So I don't know. I really don't know. It's just devastating shit. And everyone goes, oh, you fucking get so much hype behind Conor. And you just have to, you know what I mean? It was like I said on the breakdown. He's like my Michael Jordan, my Tiger Woods, my fucking sporting athlete. But after yesterday, I have genuinely come to terms, and I honestly don't care if he like goes through all the rehab again, because realistically, it's an internal knee injury. Hey, I don't want to say I'm like Conor McGregor, but for someone with internal knee injuries, no matter what you do, they're just always there. The surgeons and shit have even said that to me. They're like, even if you do the surgeries, there's nothing saying that you're not going to re-injure it again in another couple of weeks. So I think like if Conor does like another 2 years of rehab or something on the knee and comes back again, he's going to be, 39 by then or something? It's just, I don't want to see it. I'd rather just remember Conor for who he was and just hang up the gloves. My God, I don't think I can go through that again. But he's come out after, he's made 2 tweets and just saying that he wasn't injured before the fight, which was a lot of speculation, that he's just gone in there injured just to get the paycheck. He's just clearly in a fucking dark place. He's like, I feel like I'm in hell. I feel like I'm staring the devil in the face. Shit like that. And I even messaged a couple of mates after, and I was like, yes, the fight sucked, but the biggest thing that I was most worried about is Conor's fucking for sure relapsing after this. He is going to get every drug he can get his hands on to mask the pain of his injury and also mask the pain of being a fucking shell of what he used to be. You know what I mean? So, and the other thing that came out this morning is clips of Conor in the locker room. And this is what he does. He did the same thing with Aldo and things like that. Just clips of him in the locker room minutes before the fight, throwing sequences that he was going to do in the fight. And there's a clip of him throwing like 4 or 5 of this exact same kick that injured himself perfectly. You know what I mean? So if he was injured before the fight, you'd probably see a bit of pain or something when he landed off those kicks in the change room. And he just looked sleek and fucking good. So I just have to paint it as one of those tragic fucking in-cage injuries that no one could have prevented, and it sucks. It sucks to see it all go down that way. It sucks to get so emotionally invested in Conor every single time, and something always happens. So don't cry because it's over, everyone. Just cry because we spent months talking about it on the podcast just for everyone to go, we fucking told you. So shout out to Conor. Hopefully he gets a fucking speedy recovery, and who knows where or when we're going to see him next. But anyway, guys, that's brought us to the end of the episode. If you want to see me do some stand-up this week, you won't be able to come to this one because that is tonight at the Newmarket Hotel, but we'll talk about it next week. I've got the IBC on Wednesday. If you're going to be there, come say g'day. I'd love to see some of you guys down there. Then Friday the 17th, we've got the Westpark production show at the Orion Hotel again. I believe when I checked last night, there's still about 30 tickets for that, which it's a 100-seater room. So there's still going to be 70 people there, which is sick. So if you are around that Springfield area, come check it out. But other than that, guys, if you got any submissions or you want to get in touch with the show, God, that fucking Conor news. I just delved back into the dark space I was in yesterday. But if you got any submissions or you want to get in touch with the show, send me a DM on Instagram at Can't Get Any Worse Podcast, or shoot me an email at can'tgetanywOrsePod@gmail.com. I appreciate you all, and I will see you later.
Can't get any worse, we'll make you see. It's all